18th, 2023, St. Clair Shores City Council meeting to order. Abby, please call the roll.
Mayor Walby,
Here.
Councilmember Burgess,
Here.
Councilmember Karen,
Here.
Councilmember Frederick,
Present.
Councilmember Rubello,
Present.
Councilmember Rusi,
Here.
Councilmember Vitale.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 2 is proclamations and presentations. We have a delightful one. Tanner, Eagle Scout proclamation. Tanner, come on up. Right in the center here. How are you this evening?
Good, how are you?
Very good. Congratulations. Read the proclamation. Proclamation to Tanner Anastas, Eagle Scout. That's you.
That's me.
Whereas the mayor and the council of the city of St. Clair Shores wish to acknowledge Tanner, who has earned the rank of Eagle Scout with the Boy Scouts of America Troop 273, and is an example to others by his accomplishments. Tanner, a Lakeview High School student, is a National Honor Society member, plays in the drum line of the Lakeview Marching Band, and has won several first-place awards at the Michigan School Band and Orchestra solo ensembles. Tanner's earned 33 merit badges, is a member of the Order of the Arrow Brotherhood, has held a variety of leadership roles, including Senior Patrol Leader, Assistant Senior Patrol Leader, and Patrol Leader, and Tanner completed his Eagle Scout project to benefit the guests of the Capuchin Soup Kitchen by acquiring supplies for necessity backpacks such as shampoo, socks, toothbrush, toothpaste, soap, and other daily essentials. Tanner then led a team to assemble the backpacks and pass them out at the soup kitchen and serve meals to their guests. Whereas Tanner has developed responsibility, organization, and leadership skills while working on this project and during his journey to becoming an Eagle Scout, and has been an inspiration to fellow troop members, family, and friends. Now therefore be resolved that the mayor and council of the city of St. Clair Shores, on behalf of all our residents, do hereby congratulate Tanner Anastas on achieving the rank of Eagle Scout, and in recognizing his fine accomplishment, wish him the very best in all his future endeavors. Congratulations. Job well done. Family, nice job. You did a good job. Thank you very much. Oh, well, of course. He's an Eagle Scout. He's in demand. That's right. Have a good Christmas. Item 3 is audience and participation on agenda items. 2 minutes. Do we have any?
No, we do not.
Item 4 is request from Hope Bags of Michigan to be recognized as a nonprofit organization to obtain a charitable gaming license. Do we have anyone there from the organization? Okay. Dustin, you want to handle it?
Yep. On November 29th, 2023, Jeff Fisher, on behalf of Hope Bags of Michigan, requested to appear before council for the organization to be recognized as a nonprofit operating in the city of St. Clair Shores so that it can obtain a charitable license. It is recommended to approve the resolution to recognize Hope Bags of Michigan as a nonprofit organization operating in the community for the purposes of obtaining a state of Michigan charitable gaming license.
So they're on Furton and St. Clair Shores, and the process is when they're looking for one in the community that they reside in, that they come for a city council. Ms. Rusi.
Thank you. Well, this is a little bit irregular not to have the petitioner actually here,
Yes.
given, I had some questions about the organization, especially given it's relatively recently established one, and without having the person here to answer these questions and to also promote the organization, which I think is also a nice component of this. This is a little bit unusual. I was going to ask, I know one of the requirements to send up documentation to the state to obtain the charitable gaming license isn't just, the resolution's part of it, but also has some other requirements to file, like a revenue and expense statement for the previous 12 months. I was wondering if they had one of those, just because it's a new organization, at least until the 501c3. I'm not sure if they've been operating prior to this, things like that. So I don't know exactly I don't know if this is a time-sensitive type request, or if this is something we can hold off for Jeff or somebody else to appear on behalf of the organization.
I did try to look to see if they had like an event coming up,
That's
but
why-
I couldn't find one. I don't know if you saw one. I
No,
could not either.
I couldn't, and like I said, this is, it's a little bit difficult to ask the questions when the representative from the organization isn't here to represent the organization.
And maybe Abby can help?
Yeah, so Jeff came into my office and he filed the paperwork. I did confirm with him. He said he would be here.
Okay.
So I'm surprised he's not. They do not have an event coming up.
Okay, do you want to postpone this till the
I-
next
I-
meeting then?
I don't know the feeling of others. I certainly understand your position. Mr. Rebello, your pencil was up too.
I had a few questions here to ask, which I thought were important, and I agree with Councilwoman Rusi. I don't know, he's not here.
The only recommendation I would make is if before we act to postpone, we could kind of amend the agenda to put it at the end in case somebody does
I
happen to
think-
show up and he is just running late because we're running, it's a quick meeting, and if not, then we can make the motion at the end.
I did find something, I thought it was from Buffalo Wild Wings or something. that
They
he-
already have that one.
Yeah.
Did they do that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So,
all right, we'll set aside.
Okay.
How's
case
that?
he
And then
comes,
we'll see if
okay.
Mr. Fisher shows up. Item 5 is to request the adoption of a resolution to permanently move the polling location precinct 22 Lakeshore Public Schools Administrative Center at 23055.
Good
Hi, Abby.
evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, I'm requesting the adoption of a resolution to permanently move the polling location for precinct 20. It's currently at the Kennedy Middle School, so I'm requesting that we move it to the Lakeshore Public Schools Administrative Center. They share a parking lot. It's right next door, so the signage will make sure we have everything out. This request was made by the Lakeshore Administration. They were not able to host us in the middle school for the February election. So looking further permanently, this was a better location because it doesn't affect school, classrooms, and children being in session, so.
Ms. Rusi?
Thank you. Given that this first election would be February 27th, there is time to make residents aware of the change. I know you're going to be mailing out new voter registration cards, everything. Could we also maybe get for that election some signage at the Kennedy location, pointing people just to the administration building, just in case someone shows up who's used to voting at the middle school, they know to go right next door?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have some posters posted on the glass doors, and then we'll have signs outside
Okay,
as well.
great. And we'll be doing, like I said, we'll be doing a mailing directly to the voters' houses who are impacted with the new voter registration, a new voter ID card, correct?
Yes, and that should be going out by the end of this week pending the approval.
Okay, great, thank you.
Mr. Frederick?
Move to approve.
Support.
Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Ms. Rusi. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Got my little tabs in there.
Item 6 is request to approve the resolution to oppose the proposed water affordability legislation. Councilman Karen had asked to put this on.
Thank you. Yeah, colleagues, so we've received a few different letters, a couple from Public Works Commissioner Candace Miller, and one that was in reply to her letter from the head of Detroit Water and Sewer, as well as the Oakland County Drain Commissioner. Basically, in terms of talking about some legislation that's been introduced in Lansing to create what they're deeming a water affordability program. And basically, we already have one within the Great Lakes Water Authority system called RAP, Water Residential Assistance Program, RAP. And basically, that already provides customers with income-based assistance of up to $100 a month in bill credits, $2,400 towards debt assistance from water bills, and then $2,000 in plumbing repairs. And this has been a program that's been in place for many years. It is actually, people can get help through Macomb County Action, so it's very local. And basically with the Macomb County Action, there's several different programs, federal, state assistance programs that are available, and this is one of them. So it's basically one-stop shopping to go there. What the legislation calls for, and the reason why I'm asking us to take a position on it, is that it wants us to put it's basically a $2 per month, or basically $24 a year, charge on the water bills for our residents, for us to collect, and for us to send to Lansing to be part of a central fund to try to do this across the whole state, despite that we're already doing it within the Gliwa area, which covers 40% of the state. And it's a duplicate program, so I don't think it's necessary. Two, I don't think it's a good idea to set a precedent of creating programs at the state for water and sewer and then relying on us to have to collect for it. And, we already get enough in terms of the property tax bills, where the city is only responsible for really 40% of the taxes on there. We're collecting the 60% for other entities, but, everyone thinks it's our bill, it's 100% us when it's really not.
Right.
So basically to support the position that Public Works Commissioner Miller has put out to try to oppose these bills so that we're not duplicating this program, I ask the council to approve the resolution I submitted, and also thank Councilwoman Rusi for agreeing with me to put this on the agenda for tonight.
Make that form of a motion, is it?
Do you want to have a discussion first, or I can make a motion?
It doesn't matter, okay, we're going to discuss it whether you made the motion or not. Mr. Rebello.
Yeah, most of this, I had a chance to talk to Candace Miller, and most of this wouldn't even be pertaining to St. Clair Shores Family Relief. There are other programs. Mr. City Manager, how do we handle water shutoffs right now?
So currently, we are not operating under the water shutoff. If delinquent bill gets passed, then we actually add that to their taxes, and it's collected as part of their tax collection.
Okay, so we don't make a habit of going around shutting people's
That is
water off
correct.
for the heck of it. Okay.
We
And
work with the residents too.
Yeah.
We work with them, we give plans to them,
Yeah.
we're here to work with our
Yeah, that was one of the things,
Sure.
Mayor. I know that anytime somebody's ever called me, and I've directed it to City Hall, and they've always responded with some type of program to see if it could be worked out.
For sure.
And there's other things. I looked up briefly. There's other programs that they do have bill relief when people are in problems. There's something called the THAW, THAW. I know I've been asked about that before. There's something called the Human Utility, and there's actually the United Way. There are programs set up for people in Macomb County. I know these things aren't easy to always get to. A lot of people may not know they exist, but they do exist. They sort of have to look things up a little bit. So there was no motion on the table?
Not yet.
Okay.
Thank you. Ms. Rusi.
Thank you. I was following the letter from Commissioner Miller and then the reply from the people in response to that, and then Commissioner Miller's SIR reply, which interestingly enough, we haven't received a SIR reply yet. So I'm kind of waiting for that, but we haven't. It's been a while, but just a couple of suggestions perhaps strengthen our resolution and to get those documents, which I think the dialogue in those letters and the reply and I think she did a great job laying out the arguments and addressing the arguments made in support of this. I think maybe we can add a whereas clause, maybe incorporating and referencing those, her opposition to it, and appending maybe as an exhibit the correspondence to get in front of the state legislators who we're sending this to, and get in front of them again. Like maybe add it as an exhibit, A, C, and just strengthen it by referencing, incorporating those, just a suggestion. And I think that gets in front of the audience for this, so they can read it too. I think they did, I think those were pretty powerful, just a suggestion.
Just put it in as a exhibit rather than trying to write a new clause.
Yeah,
right?
maybe, like I said, maybe whereas, this legislation is also opposed by Macomb County, Public Works Commissioner Candace Miller, see attached, just something like that. And then just two little typos in whereas paragraph 5, which purports to create, should we purport to create because it's referencing the bills, so it would be bills purport, not bills purports. And paragraph 7, same thing, which further.
Back up. Which purports to create a statewide fund.
Which purport to create, you're referencing the water affordability bills, which is plural. So if you purport to create, the bills purport to create, not purports to create.
Okay.
And then 7, whereas paragraph 7, I think, which further questions the need, not furthers questions the need.
Okay.
So just 2 extra S's. And then, like I said, maybe if we can attach as exhibits the letter, the reply, and then the commissioner's reply back to that, I think that would be good to get that in front of the state legislators again, if they haven't seen it, because I thought that was a pretty good explanation of what the county, we in Macomb County already have available to our residents, and how this would be duplicative and some of the issues with the current legislation as proposed.
Thank you. Mr. Vitale.
Just to make it simple for the residents out there, this is your city government sending a resolution to the state to try to not further increase your water bill, which right now the governor is attempting to do by creating a fund for people who don't pay their water bills, which you already kind of pay some of that anyways in the cost of GLWA, former Detroit Water Department, restructured. Their fixed costs are so high that you're already kind of absorbing the cost of communities that don't pay their water bills. This is just another tax on that you have no way to get out of. You have to have water connected to your house. You have to pay it whether you use it or not. It is entirely unfair and wrong to make our fixed income senior citizens supplement someone who may very well pay every other bill they have, but not the water bill. I can tell you that as a landlord, I learned a long time ago, tenants will try to find out which bill they can pay last. And to create a fund like this is essentially just saying you can pay your water bill last, somebody else will pick it up. So I wholeheartedly support this resolution.
Mr. Rubello, did you have your pencil up again?
I do. So when you do the RAP program, it's the unused money that's in the RAP program that goes to, or it's unused money that goes to the low income? Is that how this RAP program works? Like it's...
Mayor? Yeah.
Mr. Karen.
So as Councilman Vitale stated, we already pay into the GLEWA RAP programs, like 0.5% of what we get charged from GLEWA goes into this program. The amount of money that came out of Macomb County in that program actually comes back to Macomb County, and according to Candace Miller, it's $750,000 a day. And that's administrated by Macomb Community Action, that they distribute it because they go through and do the means testing to make sure that people qualify. And right now, that $750,000 is not all of it's being used up. So I believe it goes back to GLEWA if it doesn't get used up.
Gotcha. Okay. With that, I will make a motion to approve the resolution to oppose the proposed water affordability legislation and urge our state elected representatives and the representatives from Macomb County to oppose the legislation.
With a couple of those mistakes and then adding the
yeah,
whereas, so we
yep.
add the additional.
Support.
Moved by Mr. Rebello, supported by Mr. Karen. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 7 is bids, contracts, purchase orders, request to approve the Macomb County Public Works Socia Couche Drain Repair. Mr. Lent?
The Social Crusade storm drain is owned and maintained by the Macomb County Public Works Office. The drain collects rainwater in the area of the city between 13 Mile and Masonic Boulevard and outlets into Lake St. Clair near 13 Mile Road in Jefferson. The drain was installed in the 1960s and is constructed with corrugated metal pipe. The drain size ranges from a diameter of 54 inches to 77 inches. The Macomb County Public Works Office is proposing to repair the drain utilizing the Drain Match Program, which would be split the cost 50-50 with Macomb County Public Works and the city. The total cost of the proposed work is estimated to be $80,000. The drain account currently has $10,000 available for the repair. Therefore, the city's proportion of this project is $35,000. The city's fiscal year 2024 budget has allocated $50,000 for storm sewer, and it is my recommendation that the city council approve the project and make payment to the Macomb County Public Works Office.
Mr. Frederick?
Thanks, Mayor. So, for this one, we are currently in the 2024 budget year officially. This is, it's July to June, right? And so I guess my biggest question is, do we approve the project and make the payment? When do we make that payment?
We'll make the payment to the county when the project is completed.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. Absolutely. I would move to approve.
Support. Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Mr. Karen. And that project, they already got a contractor. It'll be moving quickly.
Okay, that's
Very,
fine.
very quickly. Oh, that was your question?
That was my question,
Yeah, they are.
because the county's going to be the one
Yes.
handling design, administration, they know everything. So I assume we'll just be getting updates.
Yes, I believe
Great.
it's Clancy, actually, that's going to take care of the work
Okay.
that Commissioner Miller's already got on staff.
Great, thank you.
Surely. Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Mr. Karen. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No, Mr. Fisher's still not here, but we'll wait till after city manager's report, and then if we don't see Mr. Fisher, we will move to postpone. So, item 8, consent agenda.
Can I pull 8F real quick?
Sure, 8F's out, and then you make the motion to approve everything else.
Move to approve.
Support. Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Mr. Rebello, the consent agenda except for 8F. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 8F, Mr. Frederick.
Yep, just a quick question. I know that we're appointing Chief Piper to fill the, the term on Sarisa. But I guess my question was, do we have alternates in case either of the chiefs can't make it? Is that something that they allow us to do?
So there isn't any alternate. Each community has one representative.
We have two.
So,
right?
sorry,
Yeah.
we have two for our public safety, but yeah, so one of them will be the voting member, and then, so Piper will be taking over Mike Green's seat on there as the liaison from the city's perspective.
Okay, all right, got it. Move to approve.
Support. Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Mr. Karen. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item 9, updates and follow-ups from prior council meetings. Mr. Lent.
Mr. Karen asked, what point the company will order the 4 chassis for the ambulance during the 33-month listed in the proposal. 4 chassis are no longer the bottleneck in the build process. The chassis gets acquired from Ford approximately 1 month prior to the principal build. Our truck has an estimated completion date of March of 2026. They will acquire a 2026 model year chassis at the start of the build around January of 2026. Mr. Rebello asked how long the contractor plans to use the property for the Maple Benjamin Canal Dredge. CDI has reached out to the association for an update on the project. Mr. Rebello asked if we can get the data from SEMCOG and report to review trends and predictions. Staff is working on analyzing demographic trends and predictions and will have more detailed information in January. Mr. Rebello asked if Macomb County Office Rain Smart rebates. CDI is continuing to research Rain Smart rebate offerings. Mr. Karen asked for a follow-up on the water loss report. Refer to Mr. Babcock's email that was sent out this morning. And Mr. Frederick mentioned 2 houses on Pleasant Street by Melville that has thrown away a ton of trash in their front yard. DPW was sent out, clear the trash from both houses last week.
Well done.
Can I ask a question on Ron's item there?
Yes. Sure.
What do we assess in terms of charge for that? Because I don't want the city to be a free dumpster service.
No. So we do assess a fee and a violation from them, and do you know the exact?
I do not know the fee that would come out of.
DPW's, this time and manpower, that's all put together.
Okay, we should have some kind of standardized fee, I think, for that.
Probably a good idea.
I think we do.
I think actually we do.
We do
I
with
think it's about
DPW.
$250.
That sounds right.
Maybe you can back me up on that at the next meeting.
Yeah, we'll find
Or
that out for
just send
you.
us an email out.
Okay.
Yeah.
With that, we will move to comments by individual council. Ms. Rusi.
Thank you. Just a few little questions. Now, this one's for Dustin. There's been some interesting dialogue on one of the residents' pages about estimated water bills and water billing antennas and what the current status of those are. Can we get an update about the status? I know we had some antennas down, about, how our water billing antennas working, how many residents are getting estimated bills, that type of thing. There was a pretty interesting discussion, and it would be nice to have some updated material about it would be nice to say all the antennas are working. It would be nice to say, the estimated bills are going out now, or individual issues with the meters themselves now with the antenna, those type of things. So if we could get some sort of update on those, I know people have had some questions about those. And I guess with the water meter issues in general, it would be good to kind of get an update about that. I know there's been some things in flux. I brought this up like a year to the day at the last, when we were having that meeting at Blossom Heath, that council meeting that was the last meeting of the year, 2022.
Yes.
And I had asked for a one-pager for committees, kind of, advising our boards, commissions, subcommittees, an easy reference about things like where can they meet, minimum requirements for minutes, what can they spend their committee, the general categories they could spend their committee money on, because we've gotten some different answers over the years. I think some committees may not have had the benefit of having some of the correct information or those answers handed, or even to know that these are an issue, especially given some of the minutes we've been receiving and some of the missing information from them. And I had asked for this a year ago. And I know this takes some time, but it's been a year. So I'm going to renew my request. I know I brought this up to administration behind the scenes, but it's been a year, and I think there's been some changeover on the committees. We're talking about potentially shaking up some of the council liaisonships to these committees with, as a result of, we have a new council member who gets to be liaison to some of these committees. So I think having this guidance document would be so beneficial to create a little bit of consistency and to make sure our committees are operating to the minimum legal standards they need to be. So I'm renewing my request for a one-page document for our committees.
So can you take the lead on that, Dustin, and work with Bob and get that out?
Yep.
And finally, I
Thank you.
want to thank Ron's mom for the cookies, as is the annual tradition. I look forward to these every year. These are the only ones I ever get homemade. I get them from like the grocery store sometimes, and these are not comparable. These are fantastic. Those are not comparable to these. These are fantastic. And this is actually, I think, quite honestly, the first meeting. I just haven't consumed them during the whole meeting and went home with an empty bag. So I actually had some self-control this year. I'm saving those to share with Brad tomorrow, so he can thank me for that. And just want to wish the residents at home a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and also to my colleagues too. I think we'll be working together really well in 2024, and that's crazy to say 2024, but in a couple of weeks, 2 weeks it will be. So,
Yes.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Karen.
Thank you. First, actually just want to publicly thank WDIV Channel 4 for their broadcast last week from Blossom Heath, and actually the 2 hours of pretty much, positive coverage that they provided to the city. Whether it's, McWarm, the big promo they did for them, for all the great work that's going up at St. Margaret's, to the work that's been going on around the city, talking about our new police and fire station that we're going to be building, and all the great work that's going on at Chapatin to increase the capacity down there from Commissioner Miller's office. So it was just good to see a newscast where it was all positive stories in that, and it was all based on what was going on around here. So, and judging from the anchors, they were having a great time down on Blossom Heath throughout the whole
Sure.
2-hour period. I taped like the whole 2.5 hours of broadcasts as they were doing shots in and out, and they were having a great time. And even Hank Winchester hanging out at Blue Goose Inn, talking about it, he's trying to find out, ideas of where people need help. And I don't know if you realize that probably half the issues could be solved by the whole table that was sitting behind them, since we had our whole CDI department out for their holiday party at that same time. So I don't know if you ever realized that. You could just turn around and ask you, but it was just great to see. And I realize they're going to be doing these, rotating around all different cities, but I think we're probably one of the first ones that they did that with. Or third one. Yeah, but it was just a great time to see, and great news for the city.
Yep.
And with that, I want to talk a little bit about my niece, who's an author, Sarah J. Silver. I've talked about her previous books up here, Double Crossing the Bridge. And the last time I talked, she had her first set of Mary Godmother murder books out for Fractured Fae series. And she does have her second one in the Fractured Fae book series. So let me just indulge my niece here for a little bit.
For sure.
It started with the slaughter of a princess and ended with the death of a serial killer. Or did it? Gwendolyn Evanshine, the fairy godmother who hunted down the murderer of Princess Francesca, was born a Sealy Royal. But when you're 15th in line for the throne, nobody cares if you turn your back on the courtly life to start a PI firm with your best friend. Gwen's attempt to move on fails when members of her family start dropping dead. Her place in the chain of succession jumps to 5th in the flap of a wing. If she doesn't figure out who is targeting her family, she could be next. Or worse, she could become queen. Jessie Moon, the intrepid pixie crime blogger turned PI firm partner, was nearly a victim of the brain scraper. After everything they've been through together, she has no intention of losing her best friend, even if it means flying straight in the middle of a war to pull Gwen's stubborn butt out. Had to edit that one. Fade to Black goes where Fairy Godmurder didn't, in the depths of the dark forces that work within the Fae society, and it answers the ultimate question: why was the princess really killed? So, but all available on Amazon in book form or in Kindle, and she's, she basically specializes in a genre called fantasy crossover, where it basically takes fantasy characters but kind of working them into more real life, intrigue, murder, detective stories and that. So she's a great author. They're fun books to read. Kind of interesting trying to keep track of what type of characters each person is, but sometimes just kind of write them down with what they are to keep track. But
Is it at the
they're
library?
great.
Is it at the library?
No, they're on Amazon.
Ron, get on that.
She's becoming pretty prolific. I mean, it's
Yeah, those are good. Those are good
Yeah.
books.
This is an easy one to solve. Dustin Lent did it.
But with that, everyone have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you. Mr. Frederick.
Thanks, Mayor. It's good to see a few more people up here doing library announcements. I like that. So while Mr. Michael is putting up, and by the way, Michael, I know this is your last meeting, so thanks for all your hard work, and we're going to miss you, especially running that machine over there, and I think Denise will miss you too, because she's closest after you. So what he just put up there, and this is a follow-up to the WDIV accolades from last week, which is absolutely awesome. They featured McWarm as one of their stories, and I just found out today that through the featuring of McWarm, that $9,000 worth of donations have already come in to McWarm because of that. So what I want to do is put that up there and say, come on, residents, we can top that. Let's help McWarm out. These are the folks that are helping the homeless And I know we sit in our comfortable homes a lot of times here in St. Clair Shores and think that nobody's hurting, and in fact, they are. And they'll take donations of clothes. Right now, they need all the winter boots and gloves and hats and all that kind of stuff. But the biggest thing that Carol, who runs the program over there, needs is money. So donations would be absolutely great. Use the QR code, and hopefully we'll get that up during the meeting after it's being played live. So thanks, Michael, I appreciate that. So you guys will be happy that the calendars are going to be in the next C&G. Dave, thank you for your help on that. They'll be delivered hopefully, I think the next one, is it next week that comes out?
The next one's the 10th.
The 10th of January?
Yeah, there's one coming out this
week. I think it's this week coming out.
Yeah.
And then in response also to, I know Mr. Vitale and a few of us wanted to, work on the whole streaming thing to make sure that was a little better than it was. And I can tell you that two of the folks in the communications department, I want to thank them both, Steve and Hannah, both to looking into the streaming. And what they found out is that the YouTube is going to be the best bet because it's the easiest one for everyone to get to, and you can get to it not only from your phone, but your television.
Mm-hmm.
So they're also looking into a couple of the other ones, Rumble and a few others that you mentioned. So we might do more than one. But
Excellent.
the first step is we're going to get it to YouTube. That way that's going to affect the most people to be able to see it.
Excellent.
So, yeah, I think it's a great thing. So I also wanted to thank Brian for the water loss report that he sent to all of us, and I know that was requested by Mr. Karen, but that's so important, so important. And fortunately, we didn't find any, big significant breaks like we have in the past, but Brian, thanks for pulling that together and getting us the report. All right, couple of questions. I know that Chris and I seem to get calls from Mrs. Touts, right? Should I even say that? Maybe I didn't. I shouldn't have. But anyway, regarding some trees that are in the backyard and I was just wondering what's the status on that?
Denise, do you want to?
At this point, our enforcement action is closed.
Okay. So we've closed the enforcement action because whatever the problem was corrected? Is that?
Yes, the individual or the property owner with the diseased tree cut the tree in accordance with what our arborist said was allowable. So she has complied with what we required, and therefore we closed the enforcement.
We should not be doing this.
Mr. Vitale, you'll have a chance on your.
All right.
We're undermining ourselves.
I know, I'm not happy because the tree's still 10 feet tall, but I get
rot.
it. And it will rot over time. We probably need to keep a closer eye on that tree. But, okay, so we've done everything that we can from a CDI perspective. All right, and probably a legal perspective, Mr. Erie, as well?
Well, I have, from a bird's eye view, yes, I have committed to work with city manager and Denise Pike to see if there are other avenues that where the city may be of assistance. But in terms of the initial request, yes,
Okay.
it has been completed.
All right, I'll hand it off to Chris at some point here because I know he'll have some more questions. But, all right, a couple other things. I noticed in the zoning minutes that we just passed through in the consent agenda that it was mentioned that Amazon is not coming in, but something else is. Do we know yet what Amazon, is it Amazon something other than fresh? Is it Amazon or is it another company? Do we have any idea that's at the?
At this point, we do not.
We do not?
But we do know there is substantial interest, whether it ends up being Amazon or Whole Foods or other retailers that have absolutely reached out. So we don't
Okay.
have a final answer, but there is quite a bit of interest.
Well,
that
for
building.
those residents who haven't gone by lately, the parking lot is all brand new and been striped already.
Yep.
And some of the light poles are up. So something is going in there because somebody's paying for all that, right? So, And then I know we're all going to try and hit the groundbreaking tomorrow at the new restaurant just on Jefferson North of 10 Mile. And then another shout out to Tanner. Well done. Way to go, especially with the Capuchin Soup Kitchen. During this time of year, you are a great role model there, buddy, so way to go. All right, I do have some library announcements, sorry. Take a couple seconds here. So following up on what John said, embrace your creativity at the Drop-In Crafternoon program on Thursday, December 28th from 1 to 4. Craft materials, scissors, glue tape, markers, and crayons will be available for children to create whatever they can imagine. No registration is required. Family Game Day is on Friday, January 5th from 10 to 4. Library will have board games for all ages in the gift store's meeting room for families and friends to enjoy together. The winners get bragging rights. Again, no registration required. Youth Services hosting Story Time. The new session begins the week of January 15th, runs through February 12th. Morning story time for children of all ages will take place on Wednesdays, 9:30 to 10:30, and evening story time for children of all ages will take place on Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Baby story time will take place on Thursdays at 9:30 a.m. Registration is required and can be done in person, online, or by calling the library. Registration also begins Wednesday, January 3rd. Please join us for these free, fun-filled programs of stories and music. And, Mr. Mayor, we are also hosting adult coloring and button making on January 11th from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. in the library meeting room. Register starting on January 3rd to secure a spot and discover the therapeutic world of adult coloring. Let your creativity flourish beyond paper and pencil, turning your colorful creations into wearable art with the library's new Makerspace button maker. Teams of 2 to 6 people, ages 5 and up, can compete in a puzzle competition. National Puzzle Day is coming up on January 29th, so get your teams together. Only one person from your team needs to register with your team's name and number of participants. Registration starts on January 8th by going to the library website or calling in or in person. And I also want to thank my mom for her hard work on these cookies, and for those of you who didn't get some, we'll see what we can do if we can get some more done. And then also just a huge Merry Christmas, and I wish everybody a very happy and healthy New Year to all. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Vitale.
To start with the Christmas cookies, my wife told me essentially don't come home without them. Well, that's good. Now I can come home. And I said, you do realize the lady that makes these cookies is how many years
98.
old? 98 years old. So.
And she still won't let Ron Tuck even touch the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, could be.
On that YouTube item, Ron, one of the reasons I've kind of pushed for this is just the idea that, it was a different scene 12 years ago when I first ran for council, and everybody had cable and everybody watched the council meetings, and everybody's cut their cords, or many people have cut their cords at this point. And I said back then, and I feel this way now, we do have such a good communications department here that it's a shame that I think a lot of that content is not being seen now. And by putting it on something like YouTube TV, which, smart TVs have it, and I'll tell you what, I can even get YouTube TV on my 1974 Chromacolor with an adapter that turns it into HDMI. So the point is, I like to see people watching the council meetings because, if you actually look at some of the social media posts and things like that, you say, oh, God, we covered that 10 times at the council meeting. If more people were just watching the council meetings, they would understand better. And I think that's why we have the council that we do, which I think is a very good council. And I think we've had that for, at least a decade now. So that's one reason I push so hard for that and think it's so important. On the issue of the tree that was mentioned, you know what, it's not just the tree. There's other issues there, so I'm hesitant to say that this matter's closed. I did talk to Mr. Erie about it. There may be some other ways to look at this. We have ordinances that don't allow you to store firewood on the ground because it rots and it invites rodents and things like that. And essentially, this is a rotted tree stored vertically instead of horizontally. So I think if it's a rodent harborage, we still have an issue there. And, I'll leave it at that, but I think we've missed a few tricks, basically, at CDI lately. The Peanut Man, that, I don't know if nobody else got the phone call about that, but I got the phone call about that. There's a home that has received 11 notices of violation. And I don't know if everybody read that, but one of the lines in there said that, well, the person violates when he knows CDI isn't in the office. Well, then, for God's sakes, get in touch with the police department and have them witness it. I'm just exasperated. I have to call this resident now, and I think they're an older person that doesn't use email, so I'm going to have to catch this verbally. But I'm going to have to call this person now and say, yes, we're aware of the rodent problem, we're aware of the issue, and we've given this person a notification 11 times. What do you think the next thing they're going to say to me is, what the hell is wrong with your city? And I'm going to answer them, I don't know. So that's one of the things I have to do, makes my job harder. Okay, so kind of covering the weightier issues here. I will also say I noticed that some of my peers have their Christmas attire on tonight. I wear my annual Keep This Lime Green tie in my closet just for Christmas, and I see even some of our audience members. I hope you're coming up to talk. Those are great sweaters. So, so with that, I do want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you. Ms. Burgess,
Well, I
grab your mic.
just came back from vacation and loving our cold weather. But I just had a fantastic time. We left the day after the tree lighting, and I just think that our city is so wonderful. I must have mentioned 50 times on my vacation to people, because they're always asking you, where are you from? And I tell them where I'm from, and I brag about my city because I love my city so much. But the tree lighting was magnificent, and I really don't have anything else to say except for Merry Christmas to everybody and peace and happiness for your family for the new year.
Thank you. Mr. Ribello.
Didn't you say you could spot the tunnel of lights in a nautical mile from 30,000 feet up in an airplane? Because that's what I heard.
Yeah.
So we're lit up pretty good, and I think that gives a nice joy and happiness about St. Clair Shores. And I've heard plenty of people mention that over the past few weeks. But it's pretty cool. You can be seen from 30,000 feet in an airplane. So a couple of things, and with our master plan, which I've discussed a couple times, you don't have to come. These are just simple questions. Is there some questions in there about the coastal environment and the changing coastal environment? So there's that's been addressed. Flood ranges, flood zones, is that addressed in the master plan too? If you can look this up later if you don't know off the top of your head. I don't expect you to, so I'd hate to blindside you like that. And any type of zoning, land use, housing, transportation, I think those things are important to be looked at too. And the Amazon Fresh was brought up a little bit ago. How is that zoned, Mayor? I don't know off the top of my head that area.
B3? B3.
Just B3, okay. I don't know, I got some things, I guess I'll talk to you about it later on. One of us up here has broken into Ron's mom's cookies. Someone's opened one up. So I don't know who's gonna come clean. Okay.
I enjoyed one. It was a taste test.
Okay.
Just one, after my council comment, because I had some time to wait. The rest of them are going home.
Okay. I wanted to just briefly mention, it's the holiday season, and watch out for scams, not just senior scams. People of all ages can get caught up in scams. So if something doesn't sound right, it probably isn't. So just keep your radar on. Still looking for some more snow patrol people out there, volunteers that can help out seniors elderly, disabled. So if you can manage to do that yourself, you can contact myself, you can contact the senior center, okay? Because we're always looking for people to help out. So another thing I wanted to mention before I get to the end here, every once in a while, something comes about that makes you feel good, makes you feel like you accomplished something. We all have those like type of victories that we've had. And I am ecstatic. I couldn't be more pleased. For the last couple of years, you guys have heard me talk about something called Teddy's Law. And what that basically is after dogs and cats have been tested in labs, when their usefulness is over, the general practice was to destroy them, okay? Even though they might be perfectly fine. So at one point, there was 36 beagles in a laboratory in western Michigan. And myself and a few other people took up a fight to fight back against, in this case, it was the Dow Chemical Company. These people are giants, okay? And it's very hard to get through. And lots of help, got some great help from Kevin Hertel, amongst other people from the United States Humane Society and the Michigan Humane Society, plus everyone else who threw their 2 cents in. I went up to Lansing a few times to testify on behalf of Teddy and the 32 surviving beagles. Well, I'm very happy to say, and I'm ecstatic to let the people know the dogs that were in the laboratories and are being tested in Michigan are now going to get a second chance in life to be adopted out. Signed into Michigan law last week by the governor. Teddy's Law is now in effect. Anyone testing on any type of cats or dogs in Michigan are now subject to, they have to let the dogs find a second home and get adopted. And I know it's sort of ricocheting across the country, but those 32 dogs were a catalyst to have the rest of the country sort of start following along. So I want to thank everybody who has sent me stuff. There's hundreds of people that supported this cause, and thank God that it was finally passed after 3 years or so. So it was a long fight, and thousands of dogs and cats in the future will not be destroyed, and will have a second chance on life. So.
Way to go, Dave. Way to go.
Okay.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Every once in a while, you catch one like that, and it was a big fight. So, thank God. So, a couple other things I wanted to mention here. My trusty Musket, he hasn't been seen in a while. I think the last time I seen him, Chris Vitale found him in the
Parking lot.
In the parking lot.
He's trying to get
But
away.
another touching moment, not just for, this is totally on the 100% other end of the spectrum. I saw something last night that I will never, I just was in shock. I was in awe. There's some damn good people out there that do some damn good stuff around. And I had a chance to travel with somebody, I can say his name, Paul Dobke. Paul Dobke is the guy in red, okay? I had a chance to go down to the Children's Hospital in Detroit. Listen, dozens and dozens of sick kids came to the windows. Those who were well enough could come downstairs and meet Santa Claus, and it was the most incredible thing I think I've ever witnessed in my life. I'll never witness something like that again. And I have to say, Paul Dobke, you're a good guy. After what I saw here yesterday, it's unrivaled. So the smiles he put on those kids' faces, sick kids. can't be duplicated. He totally made their Christmas. There was hundreds of tow trucks that were there too, and it just was like, to me, a man-made miracle. So, thank God we have people like that running around in our city. Glad to call him a resident of St. Clair Shores. And with that, listen, enjoy the holidays. Make the most of it. Daryl and John, I hope you get back together.
Me too.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everybody.
Thank you. Item 11, city manager report, do you have anything?
I do not.
Okay, so we'll need I don't see Mr. Fisher, not that I know.
Move to table
no,
item
but-
4.
Support.
Moved by Mr. Kieran, supported by Mr. Frederick to postpone, to table the Hope Bags of Michigan to be recognized as a nonprofit organization to obtain a charitable gaming license. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. So Abby, put it up there and get with Mr. Fisher and tell him it'll be on the January 2nd. Thank you. Item 12 is audience participation, the 5-minute time limit. The views and opinions expressed under your audience participation are those of the individual citizens only, do not necessarily represent the views and opinions of the mayor, city council, administration of the city of St. Clair Shores. Does anyone want to speak? Yes, ma'am, then Mr. Deacon second. Yes, ma'am. Mr. Deacon, you could sign in and then she can sign in after? Okay.
You both got to come up. Come on, them shirts, they don't match, but they coordinate.
Do you work for Macy's?
That's part of our parade crew.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Pull the mic down a little bit, please. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Adra Calhoun. I recently retired after serving the state of Michigan in a law enforcement capacity. I'm here out of concern about recent activity that has occurred in the 9 Mile Harper area. There was a Kroger clerk that was assaulted, and there was also a carjacking. I want to commend our police department on their prompt and professional actions in both incidents. As you may or may not know, crime spikes during the holiday season. It was wonderful to see Channel 4 out. I'm happy to hear about the upcoming electric charging station at Royal Bryan. Excuse me. And the renovation of the golf tee. All of this will enhance our community and bring additional commerce into the community. People will not come to our community or stay and feel, I'm sorry, people will stay away from the community if they don't feel safe here. So I have some suggestions. Some may or may not have already been put in place, but these are just some suggestions I have for the 9 Mile Harper area. I would like to see increased police presence, possibly strengthening the alliance with our neighboring law enforcement community. I noticed just the other day that Kroger has installed a camera in the lot. That is a very good starting point. I would like to see a public service announcement on our local cable channel advising our community to be more vigilant. And on another note, I'm also a member of the Kiwanis. They're having their annual dinner, their wild game dinner. It is February the 8th of 2024. Anyone that's interested, they can contact Larry Lozo, I hope I pronounced his name correctly, at 586-610-0, that's 586-610-3232. Thank you for the privilege of your time, and happy holidays to all.
And I know you reside in St. Clair Shores, but I would also say, I personally reached out to Kroger. Their Michigan location there is in Novi, so I have been personally talking with them because I think we need more than just that light, but we're working on it. I couldn't agree with you more.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Deacon. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Mr. Lent, Mr. Erie, and thanks for signing me up for that crayon. Appreciate that. I'm here tonight to give you some information. A year ago, we elected a congressman from this 10th district, and he has been doing a phenomenal job. promoting the interests of his district. His statement is, I wasn't elected by the Republican Party. I was elected by the people in the district. And so I'm here to represent them. So he's done a lot of things that react on our community. He's helped get some legislation and money to help recovering addicts. He's promoted legislation to secure the Sioux locks. And he has offered legislation to monitor foreign gifts to colleges and universities. But one of the more important things he has done is he's done a lot of homework. One of the things he told me was 1/3 of the population of North America lives within 500 miles of Selfridge Air Force Base, a very strategic location for our security. And how is he promoting that? Well, he's dead against anybody trying to shut it down or modify what they have, but he has secured funding in the amount of $126 million by the Coast Guard to add to that location. And his main reason for his doing that is because of the significant economic impact that that will have on this whole district. So whether you voted for him or not is irrelevant, but I thought it was important to bring some of his message to you tonight. There's been a significant amount of money that he's attempted to secure for this area, and in the way of infrastructure enhancement. So I wanted you to be aware of those are the things that he's doing, and aren't we delighted that we have somebody that went to Washington that wanted to do something. The other reason I came tonight was I'm still not happy about what's going on with that charging for people to use the swimming pool. We just spent a whole ton of money on a new slide and the platform for that. Yet we're charging people with small children and young adults, people under 35 or 40, who generally are in the low-income bracket. We're charging them to use a pool that they paid for. Now, just because we've done it that way before, we can find some money someplace to make sure that we don't have to charge them for that. I went to one of the, quote, farmers market events.
Yes.
On a Thursday night. What a shameful thing that is, for us to spend that kind of city money and take revenue away from businesses that are here 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. The food and beverage business, why are you setting up a separate beverage tent down there, plus food trucks? I mean, you should eliminate that. That whole thing is a joke, because it's not a farmer's market. It's the people coming selling nicks and knacks. I saw one guy selling bird houses made out of license plates. Boy, that was a big winner there. Anyway, you got to take a look at how you can eliminate and utilize the funds that are available in a more appropriate way to eliminate that swimming pool charge. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Deacon, the money's raised there. That's not city funds. They raise money and have to pay for that farmer's market, so.
They don't raise enough money to pay for
They
the
do.
expense that
Their
the city
sponsorship.
spends?
They do, Mr. Deacon, but,
Oh,
so,
I've seen the rates that you charge. It's not enough.
all right. Thank you, Mr. Deacon. Ms. Crook? Good evening.
Hello, I'm Christine Crook. I'm a resident of the city, and I'm here to follow up on an email that I sent you on Thursday requesting that the city issue a resolution for a permanent ceasefire in Palestine. There are numerous cities around Michigan and the country that are doing the same thing. Detroit, Ypsilanti, and Dearborn have issued ceasefire resolutions. Tonight, there are activists from the Jewish Voice for Peace in Ann Arbor and Ferndale asking them to do the same thing. I would ask that for next meeting, the first one in January, that become a item on the agenda. I sent you guys a website from the BDS movement, which stands for Boycott, Divest, and Sanction. It is for freedom and peace and to end apartheid anywhere. Israel has been a colonial occupation state funded by the U.S. government and other governments for 75 years at the expense of all of us. And in the last 72 days, we have witnessed them indiscriminately bomb schools, hospitals, innocent civilians. Even this weekend, they bulldozed and buried alive people at a hospital seeking refuge after being wounded. And then they used a sniper to murder 2 women at a Roman Catholic church in Gaza. In a week, people all over the world, Christians all over the world, will be celebrating the birth of Jesus of Nazareth, who was born in the town of Bethlehem that today sits in rubble, and Christmas has been canceled. I ask that when you look at the lights all over all of the Christmas displays, where it is asking you and every single person to shine their light in the dark, that we as a city do the one simple bare minimum thing, that is to say that genocide and apartheid shall not exist anywhere, and it shall not exist on the dime and the backs of U.S. taxpayers, because the money, billions of dollars spent and sent to Israel every single year by our federal government is money that would be much better spent in cities like St. Clair Shores for healthcare, education, and we all know our crumbling infrastructure. We do not support the deaths of millions of people, and there is literally no argument that makes any of this right. None. So I am asking again, please, I implore you to do one simple thing that governments, churches, and unions all across this country have been doing, to ask for a permanent ceasefire. And then, if you can go even further, I would ask that our city stop investing in any companies or mutual funds or anything that supports Israel, because there are a lot of them. And you can pledge to do that as well. The link that I sent you has all of the information on the appropriate language, including the 75-year history of the Zionist state that has been occupying the people of Palestine and murdering them every single year. What happened on October 7th is not one thing that started it. It has been going on for 75 years. And for context, it would be like taking all of the people of Metro Detroit, putting them into the 142 square miles of Detroit, walling it off, and then indiscriminately carpet bombing them for 75 years, cutting off their access to water whenever they felt like it, which we know this city would never do. Thank you for caring for people and their water. Restricting access to certain foods, restricting access to leave. They have 3 exits and entry points, and if they do leave, they risk death. So, again, this is not something that we shall need to argue about. It is about morals, it is about justice, and it is about basic human rights that we all shall be afforded. The last thing that I will say is I also support not charging for the pool, and y'all are wonderful. Thank you for your service. Also, Denise Pike is fantastic.
Thank you. Yes, sir, I don't know. Yeah. Name of the city you reside in.
Hi, Mayor and Council. My name is Brian Muspellin. I reside on 27908 Chalk Street. I'm a graduate of Lakeview High School, class of 1992, and a lifelong St. Clair Shores resident. I grew up playing soccer and baseball on all the city fields, swimming back here at the pool, and fishing at all the parks. Also played a lot of golf at our beautiful golf course throughout the years, which, by the way, is in the best shape it's ever been in years, so good. Kudos to the team. Keep it up.
Couldn't agree with you more.
And what's that?
Couldn't agree with you more.
I love it. And now I have the pleasure to sit back and watch my kids, my friends and family's kids, all do the same thing that we did as kids, enjoying the parks and the city. We've all seen the growth and the excitement in our city over the last few years. Whether it's one of our awesome parks, marinas, I personally have a slip right behind us here. Love it, enjoy it more than anything. Or playing around the golf, like I said, or just a stroll through the incredible Christmas light display down behind Blossom Heath, walking down the new pier. You can see and feel the excitement of all the residents every time there's an event. But when you see some of these improvements, as great as they are, and don't take this the wrong way, you wonder why it's not 100% complete sometimes. And all I wonder is, what would it take to get some of our failing infrastructures and some of these projects just completed? I have a few examples. Back to the golf course. Cart pass last year, like half of them were resurfaced, widened, beautiful. But the other half were never touched. You always ask, what's it going to take? How long will it be? Well, we got to get it in the budget. We got to do this. I understand, but just stuff like that. It got so close, but it wasn't done. Parking lots at all of the municipal buildings and parks and recs and everything around the city. Resurfaced, patched, made workable. But again, we all know that just like the rest of our streets, these are going to have to be replaced at some time, 100%. The new slide. All the improvements at the pool, they're great. The new pump house is going to be beautiful. Can't wait to see it. But as you're walking up, you still have to walk by the 50 or so year old fence and bathhouse that's been there forever. And you don't see how awesome everything is inside until you actually get in there and view it. The senior center. One of my best friend's mom, Carol Klein, helped start it many, many years ago. I'm sure she's smiling down on what it's become now. Excuse me. The only problem I hear about it is we need more space for them and for all the activities they do and we're providing. Like a larger gym space for their classes, or possibly more bocce ball and pickleball courts, to name a few. I know money doesn't grow on trees, and like every other city or business, you guys have a budget to follow. But after a recent visit to Dodge Park in Sterling Heights, and seeing firsthand what they were able to do with money from a Parks and Rec millage, I wonder why we couldn't do something similar here in St. Clair Shores. Maybe not to that scale, but enough to maybe complete a few of the things I've mentioned, as well as some of the projects I know the city may have in mind. Like I said, everyone loves the direction the city's going. And it seems like every time one of our schools needs a millage or money for a project, the city supports it wholeheartedly.
No.
I suggest we sit down, come up with a plan, and just roll it out to the voters and see what they say. Thanks for your time. Happy holidays, y'all.
Thank you.
Hi, hello, council and mayor. Thank you for having us today. My name's Chris Ritter. I graduated in 1993 from Lakeview. My father graduated from Lakeview in '73, where he met my mother. My son graduated in '12, and then my youngest son graduated in '23 last year. I have 4 grandchildren that eventually will graduate from Lakeview if they continue on the same path they're on now. Yeah, I'm a Lakeview guy. Just echoing my friend Brian, we actually met at Gordon, standing on the wall in second grade in 1982. Date says, wow, that was a long time ago, eh? But, I also come here to support what Brian sort of laid out. I think it's, put it to the voters and see what they think, to get the funds and that sort of thing for all the projects that we're looking to do and to make the city great. So that's all. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. And I think we all up here know that we need help, right? We have capital projects that need to be done and we can't fund them. So we do understand that and we try to work with that. But we appreciate it. You're not the first person I've heard talk about that. So thank you. Yes, sir.
Porter.
Hi, good evening, Council. Sean Porter, St. Clair Shores resident, member of Local 1744. I'm here for an exciting reason tonight. March 8th, the St. Clair Shores firefighters are going to be putting out another Night at the Races. We did one last year to raise money for firefighter Sean Goldie, who is battling a glioblastoma. So last year was such a great success, we decided to keep that going. We now have a cancer fund through the 501. We want to use money to raise for firefighters with cancer. So today, I'm excited to announce that March 8th, 7 PM at Blossom Heath, we're going to do another one. We're going to have raffles. We have 10 races with a bonus 11th race. We're still looking for sponsorships. We're selling tables, anything looking for from all the local business owners. It's going to be an awesome event. It's going to be a $50 admission that gets you dinner as well as an open bar. So it's always a lot of fun. You can sponsor a horse, name it whatever you want. It can be ridiculous. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So good news up here tonight, hopefully, to raise money for an awesome cause. So hope to see you at the Night at the Races.
Thank you, appreciate it. It was a great event before, it was fantastic. So I had never been to one, but it was great. I mean,
Look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you. Anyone else before we go back to mayor's comments? With that, we'll go to mayor's comments. Just a couple, just to piggyback a little bit. I know it's already been said, but I have to reiterate a little bit. And wanted again, I know Channel 4 is not going to be listening, but they did such a great job out there. A lot of energy and just such great positive news about St. Clair Shores and what's going on here. It was really exciting. Nice to see many of the residents come down and be part of that whole newscast. So terrific, and I thank them for that. That is Channel 4. We also had the first Santa Parade sponsored there by the Activities Committee. Small, but meandered through the community, and just great to see kids out on their front porch or out on their property as the fire truck went by and the sleigh went by and Santa went by. So it warmed your heart. It was just a terrific day on that Thursday. Regards to Tunnel of Lights, I want to thank Tifa. Tifa has spearheaded this 4 years ago and put this into place, and it has literally it's only 4 years, but I think in many households it's almost now become a tradition to come down to the Tunnel of Lights. They do a great job. They support it, and it's just been terrific for this holiday period to have the Tunnel of Lights here, and we added a few things. They added a few things on the beach, so they've always kind of spruced it up every year. They added also the Christmas tree, so they do a great job. So again, hats off to Tifa, the board there that supports the Tunnel of Lights. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank the Parks and Rec. I don't want to get into the names, but there's a couple of them out there all the time who do just a terrific job taking care of it, getting the place ship-shape. They clean it afterwards because it does get busy. They get the fire pits going. We on the weekends have choirs out there. We've had music out there. They do a great job. So I want to thank them for making it very enjoyable when you go down there at the Tunnel Lights. You just don't go down to see the Tunnel Lights. There's activities down there, and there's just a lot of people down there that you see. So it's been fantastic. And on that note, I want to also say, we have a great staff here at St. Clair Shores, about 245, 250, something like that. It's a great staff that we have here that work in all the departments, and it takes a big staff, a great staff, to hum the city along, and they do an excellent job, and I appreciate all of their work that they do year-round to make St. Clair Shores the great place it is, as I want to say thank you to the volunteers. We have great volunteers who work all year around. We have many boards, more than 30, maybe more than 40 boards that we have here, and they work tirelessly. They have passions wherever they may, whether it be Waterfront Advisory or the parade, et cetera. They have passions in there, and you see it throughout the year in the city, and that also what makes St. Clair Shores just a great community. The volunteers, the people who love St. Clair Shores and want to make it better for all of us. So I appreciate all of their efforts that they do year-round. So with that, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. Enjoy your family and have a blessed New Year. With that, we'll have a motion.
Support.
Moved to adjourn by Mr. Kieran, supported by Mr. Frederick. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. Good night.